Okay, everything looks good. Let me just stop share for a second. Double check that. All right. Okay, so inshallah, welcome to Gabi School. We'll get started. Today is the first day of the full-time class for Gabi School. We'll go over everything, inshallah. It's gonna take a little longer than usual, or maybe it will take the 2 hours that we decided to use. So we'll get started. So the first thing we'll talk about is just the general picture of the things that we need to understand as a student. So these are some of the things that we'll cover, inshallah. What is Gabi School, our mission, vision, goal, and also who's behind. I think some of you watched the video in the TM, the training material. So I'll go. I mean, you could watch that, but this is also a little more. I'll talk a little more about different things, inshallah. So Gabi School is a boot camp. It's a coding school, as most of you know. So we'll skip that. Mission and vision. Our mission is to become the best place for to produce excellent students and leaders. That's our mission. Inshallah, we will try our best to push for that. Who's behind? If you don't know me, my name is Duran Ali. I live in Minnesota. I actually live in St. Cloud. I think Muhammad lives in St. Cloud too.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so I live in St. Cloud. I found several businesses so far. I have three kids, two girls, one boy. The boy is the oldest. So Alhamdulillah. Some of my passions are like basketball, technology, astronomy, science, things like that. Another interesting thing about me is a while back when I was in San Diego, California, a friend of mine asked me if we could go to a skydiving, and I was like, I don't think I would do it, but let's go to the place. We went there, and all of a sudden I saw myself on like the airplane. Of course, I didn't do it myself. There was somebody else helping me. So we jumped from the airplane, and it was very terrifying, but it was also interesting. It went by really quick, so that's one thing I've noticed. Okay, so let's get to the meat of today's lecture, uh, the first part at least, which is talk about all the things that we need to understand at this school. So the first thing would be the attendance, and we'll talk about also how to fill out forms for lessons and assignments. We'll talk about asking for help. So let's say if you get stuck or something like that. We will also talk about IWY, which we will explain what that means. We'll talk about grading. We'll talk about the weekly assessment, which we call sprint projects. We'll talk about schedule, your schedule, the full time, and we'll talk about tuition, refund, things like that. All right. So let's see. So let's talk about attendance. So attendance is must, especially when it comes to live lectures. So today I don't see a lot of people attending, but that's fine because it's the first day, and they will watch this recording. Uh, so attendance is must, and then also attendance is critical for the success. The reason why attendance is very critical is because it is a way to measure your your progress. If you don't attend, it will be very difficult to succeed and understand concepts, and you'll have like holes in your knowledge, especially when it comes to the curriculum. So there are things that you will not understand. Uh, Also, we say 2 days, but we extend it to 4 days. If you miss 4 days, then it will be very difficult to continue. So we have to talk, we have to talk in private about that. All right. The next thing would be filling out forms. I want to show you exactly how to fill out the forms. So these forms are important. We use something called Airtable. This is a way to know that you finished the assignment basically. So I'll show you example of how that looks like. So if we go to the training material, this is my demo account. If you go to training material, you will see here it says forms on the left side. You'll see we have like four forms. So the first one is daily reflection. If you click it, it will take you to this website, Airtable. So Airtable, basically, you will fill out this form. This is a daily reflection. This means every day when you finish assignment, you come here, you choose your name here, and then you'll fill out this form. You will choose the assignment for that day. You'll put the link here. So let's say today we're doing code pen. You put your assignment here, assignment link. You will choose your cohort, usually full time if you're full time, and then you will grade yourself. So this grading is about what assignment you have. What do you think your assignment is worth? So we'll talk about grading. You will understand. We use three tiers of grading. So the grading basically helps you understand like where you're at. So we have 3 points, 3 point star. And these 3 points, the first one is you did not meet expectation. Basically, mostly you didn't finish the work. The second one is you met the expectation. And the third one is you excelled and you went above and beyond. And we'll talk about in detail that in a little bit. But you choose one that fits what do you think you finished. And then here you'll just explain if you had any problems, if there was anything that was like didn't allow you to finish the work, if there was an issue with the assignment or anything. So you'll explain here whatever you want, like whatever that you think that stopped you from doing it, or if you found something that helped you. So if something helped you, you could just explain this helped me, and I watched this lecture, I watched this video, and that helped me. So this is the daily form. There's also a sprint reflection. Sprint basically means weekly. So this is the weekly. So every week on Friday, for the full time, we have a sprint project. So it's a project that you will make you'll create a something, an assignment, and that day you will not have a lecture or anything. It will just be that assignment for that day. So when you finish the assignment, and that assignment is accumulation of all the days for the last week. So the week that you passed, everything you learned, that project reflects on everything. So when you finish it, you come here, you choose the name, the usual stuff. You choose the sprint project. So these sprint projects are every week. You put the link here. So sometimes a GitHub link, sometimes it is code bin, especially at the beginning. So and then you grade yourself as usual, and then you say something about what you went through. So that is the second form. The third form, sorry, the third form is a build week reflection. So build week is we will talk about the training material, all everything you see here. We'll explain what they mean. But we have 4 build weeks. So 4 build weeks because we have 4 sections. So these 4 sections we're gonna have 4 build weeks, mostly 3 build weeks, but 4 yeah, as usual. So the build week is a whole week that you'll work on a project. So I'll give you an application to build or something, a web page to build, and you will have a week with you might work with somebody else, you might work alone. So you will build that whole week. You will take that whole week to build the whole application. So build weeks are important. So when you do build week, that's when you go to this form, build week, and when you finish that assignment, you just come here and fill out this form, and you will talk about reflection. And here there's another question that talks about what did you do for the team. So if you're working with a team, then you explain what you did. So maybe you did the front end, maybe you did part of a page or something. So you just explain I did navigation or something like that. So you explain it here. And also there's the last one is feedback. So this one is important because we're trying to improve the school, we're trying to improve everything. So this one is anonymous, so there's no name or anything. You just write whatever you feel like that helps the school. So negative or positive feedback, we accept all feedback. And you could rate the school and everything, and give us suggestions and feedback, things like that. So whenever you feel like something is not working out, or something, you have issue or something like that, and you want to report anonymously, then you could let us know here. And usually in the future we will have more teachers and things like that. So you could report here whatever that bothered you, so we can improve. And you could explain details, say things like, I like this one, I like this part, something happened here, all that stuff. So just explain here. So that's anonymous feedback. So those are the forms. Let's go back to the slide. So filling out the forms is important because it helps us keep track of what you're doing. It shows that you're active, all that stuff. So whenever you finish assignment, go to Airtable, fill out the form, and for the full time students, we expect you to fill out the form daily. Around 4 p.m. 1 hour before the whole day finishes, you should fill out. And we'll have a stand up. We'll have, at the end of the day, we'll have like a 30 minutes that we'll talk and ask you if you guys fill out the forms and things like that. Okay. Second thing is asking for help. The next thing is asking for help. This is important because it's gonna get really difficult. It's gonna get really hard. At the beginning, it might look really simple, things easy, and then it gets hard. So if you want to ask for help, use the 20-minute rule. The 20-minute rule is you spend 20 minutes on a problem, and if you can't figure it out in 20 minutes, make sure that you ask for help, inshallah. And also, we created a help channel for the full time and for the part time. So in Slack, I will add you guys to your help rooms, but you could also look for it. Just look for something like Web or One Help, and you'll find that it's a public channel. So and that channel is where you could post problems and things you haven't. And if you can't figure out any problems, contact me. You could also post it in the normal channel, the Web or One. You could post it there, and if you're stuck, then I'll try to help you as much as I can. So when you're asking questions, make sure it's specific. Make sure it is something you did something and you try your best and you're stuck. Then we can help you. The next thing would be the IWI. I think some of you watched the video, know what that is. Is I do, we do, you do method. So at Gabi School, that's what we use. That means at the beginning of the day, for example, earlier I was telling you guys for 30 minutes to go to the training material and try to learn and see. That's the I do part. So you go to training material, you just try your best, you watch the video, you read the assignment, all that stuff, you understand what we're gonna do today. And then we do means this is like right now, what are we doing right now? We'll do together. And in a little bit after we finish this, we'll do the assignment for today. So we'll do it together. I'll show you how to like do all that. The last one is you do. That means after I finish the lecture, you have the whole day until 30 minutes before the day ends to finish the assignment and send your Airtable form. So that's you do part. So this is the method that we use. Let's talk about quickly the grading. We touched a little bit what the grading is. So the grading is we use a 1 to 3 scale. So our grading, when we didn't design our grading to kind of like make the student feel bad or make the student feel like they're not succeeding. We didn't use percentage or A grade or things like that or letter grading. So we use just the 3 tiers. So the first one is you did not meet the expectation. So this means that you didn't even finished MVP. So that you didn't meet any minimum expectation of the assignment. So either the assignment or the build week or the sprint project, any of them. Uh, so if you didn't meet the expectation, you will get one, and you should grade yourself when you're filling out the forms. So you should say, okay, I think I meet two. If you went through and went above and beyond and you did extra, then you should grade yourself three. So two means you met the expectation. This means you did the MVP, minimum viable product. So you basically did the minimum, which is good. So two is great. So if you did two, you're fine. So don't feel bad if you get two. Three is you went above and beyond. You did something extra. We will have in the future assignments. We will have a stretch. Stretch means a assignment that you can do if you finished your normal assignment. So it's a little harder than the usual one. Okay, so that is three. So that's a grading. Um, the next thing we'll talk about is the assessment. So every week we do assessment. So every week when you finish, we do something called sprint project. For the full time, it's every Friday. So Friday in the morning, there's no lecture. You come, you have a project, and we ask a student to not look at the project ahead of time. It is there already, but if you look at it, it means you're violating the student code of conduct. So we ask you to not look at it until Friday morning, 9 a.m. in the morning. So when you come to the class and you sign in, we will share the link just like I shared the Zoom, and you could go and do that assignment, inshallah. So the weekly assessment happens every Friday. It's 4 hours. 4 hours. So we're hoping it to be finished before Friday lecture or Friday Jum'ah, the Jum'ah prayer. If you can't finish it before that, it's fine. You could go to the Jum'ah and come back and finish it. So it's 4 hours, and it's not a group project. So you can't ask for help. You can't ask help as in like the assignment. So every anything that's related to assignment, you can't ask for help. It's just like when you're in an exam. So, but you could ask if you're stuck, if something is not working out, let's say technology wise, or you can't get the assignment or things like that. Yes, that's fine. If you're stuck and you don't know where to start, you could ask you could contact me privately. So contact me privately, or in the future, inshallah, if we have people that are helping here, you could contact them privately and ask them, okay, I'm stuck here, I don't know what to do. Can you help me? Can you guide me anyway? So it's not like you have to be stuck all day. Just ask for help in 20 minutes. If you can't figure out what to do, ask for help. We might help you. So you will be building something every week. So whatever you learn that week, you will use to build something. And then you have to get a minimum of two in the grading scale. If you don't get two, then it's hard for us to move you forward. So you will have time to redo it the next week, but we ask the students to finish it that day. So if you fall behind, it's gonna be really difficult to catch up because it's gonna go really fast. This whole curriculum is maybe as you have seen from the training material, is packed. It's a lot of stuff, so it goes really fast. So make sure to not fall behind. If you think you're falling behind, let me know as soon as possible. I don't know why I'm exiting. All right. um let's talk about the schedule. Schedule in general, you come here 9 a.m. And you finish 5 p.m. So we expect the student to spend the 8 hours for the day for the full-time students. We expect them to spend. You'll have a break in the middle of the day. So from 1 to 2, you have a break, 1 hour break. We don't expect you to sit on your computer. But other than that, if you finish your assignment, you could also take a break if you want, but make sure to come back 30 minutes before the school finishes, 30 minutes before 5. because we're doing a stand up. So we'll just meet quickly, and ask. I'll ask you if you have any questions, anything. We just have discussion. You could talk to me. You could do whatever. So the lecture part, for example, what I'm doing right now, mostly it's just one way. So I'll give you information, a lot of information. You'll go do the work, and then at the end of the day we'll have 30 minutes where you can discuss with me, ask me questions. You could talk, you could, explain whatever. You could also share something you found. So if you found something, some information, you could share. You could teach the students, like, we have 30 minutes, but you could like share something quickly. All right, so that is the schedule. um so 9 a.m to 5 p.m, make sure you're there. And for the part-time, it's 6 p.m to 10 p.m every day. And Saturdays are full days for the part-time, so I'll explain that to the part-time people. Okay, so tuition, the tuition and refund. So the tuition, from what if you have seen, and most of you have paid, is 1,995. It might go up in the next cohort. So if you know someone, just to let them know that the tuition might go up. Um, and if you're doing installments, if you're doing 399 a month installments, there's no refund. So if you pay for the month, there's no refund for that month. If you want to leave, or if you want to take a break or something like that, you could just stop paying. We just let us know and we'll pause your payment. But for the people paying installments, there's no refund. For the people paying full, yes, there is a refund, and it's explained in the student guide, which I will explain in a little bit. It's explained in the student guide, the rules, and also it was explained in the contract. So let's talk about some of the technologies that we will be using. We'll be using Slack, Zoom, Airtable, training material, and GitHub. And also, we'll also be using Slido, which I will show you guys in a little bit. um Slack is the one you guys just used. Is is a software for communication. That's where we'll post the links, everything. That's where we will contact you. We expect you to be professional in all these platforms. So put your picture there. Use your full name. Pretend like this is your work place. So make sure that you share everything correctly, and you don't share something that's not professional. And the main channel would be Web01. That's the main one. But also, we will have a Web01 full time and Web01 part time. So those are also places that we will share information. So we'll divide the part time and full time. We will not mix them that much. But the main one that everybody goes is the Web01. Okay. And also make sure you turn on your notification. So when you're using Slack, make sure you turn on your notification, because you might get a message from me or something urgent. So make sure throughout the day, the 8 hours you're in the class, make sure the notification are on. Zoom is this one we're using right now. Is the software to communicate, to share live lectures, live interactions. So most of you know what Zoom is. So and make sure you don't ask, you don't use the chat for the Zoom. If you want to ask questions, make sure to use the Slack chat room. So that's where we'll communicate. If you want to ask anonymous question, we will use Slido, the link that I shared. That you could use. You could ask an anonymous question. So that is, we'll talk about it in a little bit. Airtable is the one I talked about. Is a place you can fill out forms. So we kind of like explained what it is. The links are in the training material, and you could find them all there. We can share the links every day, but make sure when you finish your assignment, you go to Airtable and fill out the form. If you want to fill out a general feedback, it's anonymous and there is no consequences. So if you say something, share, if you want to share something, suggestion or advice or something, be professional, but also there's no consequence. So negative or positive, there's no consequence. The training material is the system we're using, is the curriculum system we designed for the students to use daily. So you have to log in every day and spend the time there and read and understand what's in there. Let me just show to you guys a little bit, just kind of like go over what do you see. So when you log in, you come here and you will see that this is your profile. Uh, if you want to edit your profile, you go here at the top and edit profile, and you fill out your information here. Um, you could also add a picture if you want. At the bottom here, you will see some information about you, your cohort, the day you started, things like that, and the day your passable will complete. Um, and on here, you will see your progress. So these are um, the assignments that you have finished and the assignments that are not finished yet. We'll add more assignments here as time goes by. So as you can see here, this one, the first one, if you finish, you will get passed. If you didn't finish, you will get not passed. Okay, it's right here. Also, the submitted day. So the submitted day is the day that you submitted um, your Airtable form. So that's when you submit. So if you submit that, the Airtable form will tell you exactly when you submit it, and we'll put that there. So this keeps track of your progress. If you haven't passed something, let me know so we can discuss and see where to go. So the main thing is sprint projects. You have to pass these, and you have to get two. These ones, it's good to pass. I mean, it is important that you pass these and get two, but the sprint project is the one that's most important. And the attempts, we have three attempts. So if you don't get something, the sprint project, you'll have another two attempts to do it. Okay, so that's assignment. And the attendance is important too. We do daily attendance. So, for example, right now we have three people here, four people here. Sorry, four people here. So four people will do the. I'll do the attendance today, and mark you guys present. So attendance, we count attendance as a person who comes to the live lecture, and also a comes to the Slack. So, for example, on Fridays, your attendance is counted when you start when you start your project. So we'll ask students to like a post, something we put in Slack. If you like it, it means you're here and you started. And also, there's different ways to know. But the main thing is that you're present, you're here, and we'll mark you present. So make sure that you present every day. Otherwise, it will affect your progress and everything. Feedback is I can give you feedback, or other instructors or group leads will give you feedback over time. So feedback is usually things that general feedback. So if you did something good, if you helped a student, if you went above and beyond, things like that, we'll give you feedback here. Files are just general files. Let's say if we want to share something with the students, we can share the files here, and we can put it here. So this is the profile. On the left side, you see four sections. So these four sections are the curriculum. So the first section is 4 weeks. So each section is 4 weeks. So 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Each week is 5 days. So let's say we go to the first week, which is we started today. It will show 5 days. So these 5 days, this is what you will learn. So the first day is today. So we're going over the introduction of Gabi School, and then you will start HTML right away today. So when you click one day, you will get introduction of what it is, what to expect, and also we have a objectives. So these are the objectives that you should know, you should be able to understand, and at the end of the day have a grasp of these objectives. And some of the beginning, like the first few lessons, we have video. So this one we have video here, and what's HTML, we have a video here you could watch. um, but when we get to like advanced stuff, we will not have videos. We will try to add more videos in the future, but um, just because the school started right now, it's going to be difficult for us to add more videos, but in the future we'll add more videos. So this is your assignment. So you just go over here. You see, you have to understand what HTML is, understand the tags, things like that. What is semantic HTML? Um, Understand attributes, things like that. Understand all this stuff, basic stuff, and then when you finish, you will have a daily reflection here. So this basically tells you to fill out the form here at the top, the form we talked about. This one, daily reflection. Uh, but at the bottom, you have daily tasks. So this is what you need to do daily. So today, your assignment is HTML1, and you will build a website for Fatima restaurant. So this is your assignment today, and I will show you how to do this in our lecture today. I'll show you how to do this. So this is your assignment today. So every day when you finish, you go down, you click this link, and that's your assignment. And you will read the instructions there, and you have to understand what it says and all that. If you have any questions, let me know. So that is your training material. You could go and see what's coming. So here we see we have HTML, we have JavaScript, more JavaScript. We have build week, and then section 2 we have React. We have more React forms and classes. We have state management. We have build week 2, and then section 3 we have a web API. So we'll get into Node in here. We'll have about database stuff. We'll have authentication, tests, and things like that. Login, and we'll have build week 3. And then section 4 is where you will start something called lab. So section 4 is basically when you're gonna apply everything you learned. So everything you learned in these three sections, you will apply it in these 3 weeks. So you will have 3 weeks to work with a team. You're going to choose from several projects, and it's not going to be something simple that like you did at the beginning. So it's going to be really complex application that you build, and that's going to be your main project to end with the school. And then the last week we'll have Python, and also we'll have courier, things like that. So that is kind of like the general understanding. We don't have a lot of stuff in here. For example, the labs we just don't have information right now, but we will add more information as time goes by. So this is within about like 4 months. Um, so it's not anytime soon, but you will. This is each one is about a month. So this is a month, second month, third month, and fourth month. So that's how it's divided. Okay, so that's the training material. It's important to understand what the training material is, and log in every day. So it's required to log in every day. It keeps track of who logged in and who's not. So keep that in mind. So make sure that you logged in every day and you read your assignment. You read everything. Okay. I think we have someone joined us, Mohammed Shuri. Welcome. uh, so that's today. So yeah, so we went over a lot. If you have any question, sorry about that. You could use the Slido or you could use the Slack, whatever which one works for you. So I'll share the Slido. Uh, I'll share the Slido link in Slack, um, and you could go ahead and try to uh, you could ask questions, inshallah. Also, you could just come on to the mic and ask any questions you have. That was our first part of our lecture. Let me just stop sharing. So yeah, so that was our first part of the lecture. The second part will go over the assignment for today and a few other things that we'll go over. Um, but yeah, just let me know if you have any question. You could use the Slido. The Slido, you could answer question anonymously, or you could just put your name there if you want. That's where we like students to ask questions. But if you want to ask in Slack, that's fine too, inshallah, no problem. We will take a break, about 10-minute break, and then we'll get back to the second part, and then go from there, inshallah. So you could just go ahead and stretch and get your water or something, and then we'll get to the second part. So right now it's 10:12. So yeah, so we have about close to hour and a little bit left for us, so we could finish the assignment. So I'm hoping we'll finish on time, no problem. So let's take a break and get back in about, let me share my screen. Let's get back in like 10 minutes. So I'm gonna put here 10-minute timer, and yeah, so it started. Yeah, so let's get back, inshallah, and we'll get to the second part. Okay. All right, see you guys soon. Okay. Welcome, guys. We'll get back. Let's get back to it. Okay. So, so the next part, inshallah, we'll talk about the today's assignment. Maybe some of you went over today's is HTML. So let's get to it, inshallah. Let me know if you guys have any question anytime. You could just share it on the Slack or the Slido. Another thing is taking these breaks are important for the students and for also me and everyone. So keep that in mind. So inshallah, we'll try to take breaks, mostly at least one or two breaks. And also, we will every week I would love to. I mean, every day I would love to have. I would love to do everything in time. So now we have about an hour left for us. So hopefully we can get over. We can go over the assignment in an hour. So let's hope that that works out. All right. So the first thing we'll go over is let's go to the training material. Uh, let's go to the HTML section. So today's lesson is HTML. So the first one, and we'll do HTML just today. So keep that in mind. We're gonna go really fast because there's a lot to cover. So we're just gonna finish HTML today. So that'll be it. After that, it will just be CSS, JavaScript. We just keep going. So today we talked about what Gabi School is, expectation, things like that. Actually, I forgot to share with you guys these important links. So this is one of the things I didn't cover. So sorry about that. So let's just quickly cover what this is. So these important links are actually really important, especially the student guide. So if you click the student guide, it is a Notion doc. So if you haven't seen it before, if you haven't seen what Notion is a document sharing a website. So it's like a Google Doc, but much better. So this is what we will use, Notion. So Notion, basically, everything in here is about the school. Is about what do you need to know. So we have a lot of stuff here explained. So if you ever have a question about something, first check here. First check your student guide. It will explain almost everything that we have. So this section, the first section, is talks about what the school is. It talks about how to get started. So the first day, I should have went over this one first. So this one is what to expect on the first day. Computers to have required. So this is the required systems. So this is the required minimum computer. So 4 GB of RAM, things like that. Webcam is important. Microphone, and this is kind of like this. What you could use, set up Slack, download Zoom, things like that. So basically, this is your first day of coming to school. Um, Another thing is financial. I went over this one. You could read more here. So financial explains basically what you're expected to pay, cancellation, refund, things like that, for students who paid in full. So students who are paying monthly, there is no refund, but students who pay in full, there is a refund. So tools, we went over Slack, things like that, Zoom. Code of conduct is important. So this one explains what you're expected to be and to do, how you should behave, things like that. I don't know why my internet is slowing down, but it's a big file actually. So you're expected to be professional, basically be respectful, and courteous, and basically be a good person. And if you have any question or any concern, you could come to me and talk to me. So you could click it and read for yourself. Academic policies. This is basically we're expecting the student. So these are basically if you want to withdraw, if you things like that. What happens if you can't log in? What happens if you don't have internet or something? If the internet if the if the power goes out and your area doesn't have any electricity, what happens, all that stuff. So it explains that. So we, just read a little bit more about that. um, this is the student corner. So this is your journey, the student's journey. It explains what the student is going to go through. So this is, I explained a little bit on this. So we have 4 sections. We have sprints. We have sections. So I explained it when I was going over here on the training material. I explained the sections, the different sections we have, and also the sprints. And the sprints are every week. So right here, if we click here, so this week has a sprint. So this sprint, you will build a marketing website. If you go to JavaScript, this sprint, you will do something called JavaScript fundamentals. So whatever you learned that week, you will apply. And last week, you will build, you applied JavaScript. You will build something with JavaScript to DOM and things like that. So that is the sprints. Progress requirements, things like that. It's a lot of reading, but if you ever have any question, this is where to go. Student schedule. So the student schedule, if you go to important links, you will see the full-time calendar and the part-time calendar. So make sure that you add this to your calendar. So if you click it, it will take you to the Google Calendar, and add that calendar to your Google Calendar. So as you can see here, today, this is today. I don't know why it's this color. I didn't make it this color. So today, right here, we're doing the lecture. So today, how do you zoom this in? Um, so today we're doing lecture. So right now we're in the middle of the lecture, as you can see. So that's what we're doing right now. And when we finish our lecture, this is what you're supposed to do, project time. So from 11:30 to 1, you will do project time. And then from 1 to 2, you will take a break, so daily break. And then after that, from 2 to 4, you will do project time. Project time is basically the assignment I give you every day. That's what you will do. And then at the end of the day, you will do something called stand up. So you will submit your Airtable forms, and then you will do stand up. So that's the calendar. Make sure you add this calendar to your Google Calendar. I'll share the link if you can't find it there. Make sure you add that. I'll share it in the Slack. So that's the calendar. This is a part-time calendar, which we're still fixing a few things here and there. So yeah, so this explains the schedule. Curriculum is the training material. So this is the curriculum. Student support. So if you need support, what to do. Community. In the future, inshallah, we'll have a community in your city. If we have a couple of people going to school, you could go over and go have a meetings with those students and things like that. Students leadership program, that's something we're still working on. Build weeks. uh, Build weeks are these. So this is build week. So everything you need to know about build week is here, and all this stuff. We don't require, but we recommend the students to start their own blog. So if you go to here, we recommend the students to.
Hello.
Yes, yes. Who's that? How can I help? I think somebody's testing their mic. Can you guys hear me? Is everything good?
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. Khair.
Yeah.
All right. So we recommend the students to start their own blog by using the Medium platform. It's a free place to write. So write your experience, write what are you learning. You can write whatever. So we recommend the students to just start writing, because communication is half of your development journey. So if you want to get a job in the future, it's really important to communicate. So this will help you practice more. So I would say start writing as soon as you can. And then courier. So this is in the future where this is the when you finish the school, we will help you with the courier and things like that. If you need more help, it's right here. We have a lot of help. So that's the student guide, and it will definitely help you a lot if you read more about that. So yeah, so those are the links that we forgot to cover earlier. All right. So now let's go back to the lesson for today. Let me see if we have any questions. So let's go back to the HTML. Um, so today we'll cover HTML and what HTML is. Most of you know what HTML is, understand what it is. So what is HTML? So HTML is actually, I have a slide about it. So let's just go over basically the slide quickly, and then we'll get to the assignment itself. So what is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. That means it's not a programming language, it's a markup language. It was created by this man called Tim Berners-Lee in 1993. Just a little bit background about Tim Berners-Lee. He was part of the CERN, the a organization that does a lot of experiments with physics. I think it's located in France, France now. It is a tube. I don't know if you guys read about it. It's called CERN, uh, CERN. Um, they do a scientific experiment. So they have a huge tube that goes under the ground, and it is really big. So it goes around a city, a whole city. So what they do is they accelerate particles like physical, I mean, particles, atoms, and they crash each other to create new particles. Basically, that's the experiment they do, and that is actually, I think, what most scientists work there. Most physicists, they work there. They do their experiments there. So this guy was working there as a young man, as 20 years old. So he was really very genius when it comes to science. But the problem was HTML. There was no HTML. There was no public internet. There was no network and things like that. And this was 1985 or something like that, or I think before that too. So he was working there, and then he saw that a lot of scientists were coming from like Russia, different parts of Europe, US, and they were bringing different documents. So a lot of them were bringing something like PDF. I don't know if there was a PDF, but they were bringing different files, different types of documents, and there was no computers that. So you have to bring your own the computer that opens that type of document. You have to bring that computer. So if you created a document with a certain type of computer, you have to bring that computer for them to open that document. So it was pain. It was really difficult. So eventually, people agreed on different few document files, and then he started creating HTML. So he didn't call it HTML first. Started creating a document system, and he brought it to the guys who were working, who he was working under, and I think they put a writing on top of it, and they said interesting. On top of the document, they put interesting, and he was proposing HTML. Basically, he was saying like, I want you guys to use HTML. Everyone to use this type of formatting, and so that everybody understands everybody. So the guy he was working under, he called it. He put interesting underneath it, on the top of it, and he just put it somewhere. And Tim Berners-Lee, time went by, and he just, he started his own thing, and he improved HTML, the marking tags and all that stuff. And then he met with someone who created a browser. I think it's called something Vala browser. It was like one of the first browsers ever. So he said, okay, let's incorporate the browser and the HTML, and that's how things get started. And there was few other browsers that came at that time around 1993, and people could start using it. So that's where HTML came from. Basically, it was a document, just like PDF. It was a document system, and then it got adopted. Now we have version 5, HTML version 5. So that is the one we're using right now. There was a few other versions that we went over, that over the time since 2000, since 1993. I think it was 1995 when the first version was kind of like agreed upon. Okay, so this is the structure of HTML. You have the HTML tag on the top. You have the header, and you have title, and then you have the body. So you think of HTML as like a person. A person has a head and body. So the body, this white part, is what shows on your browser. So when you write something here, that's, people see this part only. They don't see what you write in here. And this is the title. They see the title, but they see it on the browser. The tab name is the title. So we'll go over that and we'll explain a little bit more. But you have to put it between the HTML tag, and HTML has a closing tag and opening tag. So we'll explain what that is too right now. So HTML has a opening tag and closing tag always. There are few exceptions, but most of it there is a opening tag and closing tag. So this one, for example, is a paragraph. So a paragraph, the opening tag, it has this angle bracket, and then the tag name, and then also you close it at the end. So that's what you put when you create an HTML. That's how you create it. So these are the most used HTML tags. The first one is H1, standing for header one. So H1 has a range. So it has from like header one to header six. So header six is the smallest, and header one is the highest. It's the biggest one. So for example, in the news websites, for example, like CNN or something like that, Al Jazeera, their top news tagline or top news article, the header is H1, because you wanna make it obvious. You wanna show to people like this is the biggest one. This is the most important part. But also if you have another titles, you could just put H2, H3. It gets smaller. There's also paragraph, which is the main text of the body. There's also a tag, which stands for anchor, and this is the link. So if you want to create a link, you use the a tag. There's a div. Div is just a container. So div is like, it's like a generic section. So generic section, it doesn't mean anything. It just means, okay, I'm gonna create a section. So if you get confused what div is, it's really not anything. It's just like paragraph, but um it's not anything that has a meaning. So it's basically saying I want to create a section. I want to create a division. There's an image tag. Oh, sorry, my webcam went out. There's the division tag. So the not division. I mean, there's image tag. So the image you use for the image, an image is the only one that does not have a closing tag. Not the only one, but it's one of them. One of the ones that don't have a closing tag. Sorry, there is the UL, stands for unordered list. So if you want to create a list that is not ordered, means it doesn't have a number. If you want to create a list that has a number 1, 2, 3, you use OL, which is a ordered list. There's a span. This is a generic, just like the div. It's a generic one, but it also has special power. So it's not like the div. It has something called inline property. So we'll go over that in the future. Let's go to the next slide, which is semantic HTML. So this is, if you take anything from today, take semantic HTML from today. So semantic means something that makes meaning. So when you're creating a HTML page, this is what it looks like. So you have a header, you have navigation, you have sections and articles, you have a footer at the bottom, and you have like a side. So you could use these tags to kind of like put together a whole section. So if you want to put the logo and different things on the header, you could put header and the header tag. So semantic means header makes meaning. So for example, someone comes to your website and you're using a device, and they can't see anything, they're blind. So if your website has a semantic HTML, it would be easy for them to, like, if they if the device reads here, it will tell them, oh, you are at the header. And if it reads here, it will say, oh, you're at the nav or navigation. If you goes here, it will say, oh, you're in the article and section. So it helps the person understand where they are. That's a main reason that we use for semantics. Another main reason is when Google comes to your website. So Google, what they do is they do crawling. They have bots that crawl the internet. So they come to your website and they're like, okay, let me see what this website is about. And the first time when they see semantics, if they see the header, navigation, things like that, they'll be like, okay, I understand this section is a header, so I assume this is the header, and they will just categorize you that way. It will make it easy for Google to like make your website get categorized in a correct way. So it makes it easy for search engine optimization, which is what most people are looking for. You want more people to come to your website, and you want Google to like recommend your website to more people. So yeah, so that's kind of like general concept of what HTML is. And now we could go over to CodeBen, and we could just get started on building a web page. So, do you guys have any question? Um, any question whatsoever? Let me know. You could write it. You could take the mic. Feel free, inshallah. All right. Let's see. Um, we have a new person joined us. Is it? I think it's not Hamid. Hamid Shuri already on Nugujute. Farhan, yeah, Farhan is I think is new. Welcome guys. Here's the thing. Actually, I wanted to take a poll. Sort of. Let me see. I want to say something like, if you want me to speak Somali, use love emoji. If you need English, um, use the. Actually, I can just put the. I'm writing. You guys cannot see the Slack, but I'm writing a. I'm writing a question. So I want to take a poll of if you guys wanted me to speak Somali or English, whichever is easy for you. Um, or just yeah. Okay. So let's go vote. Let's go vote on Slack. Let's see what you guys wanted me to speak, because I forgot to ask that. Um, and this recording is for the future, but it's for you to start with at the beginning. So let's go to Slack and let's see. Let's vote, guys. Just hit the emoji. Let me actually share the Slack. Okay. All right. Looks good. Let me stop sharing here. Okay. Let me share Slack. So I see there's a division there. We have, I think, two Somali. Okay. We have equal now, I think. Okay. Looks like the English is winning, guys. Mashallah, mashallah. Okay. I see that. That's good. Looks like the English is winning. That's good. Yeah, I wanted to give you guys the option to we can explain English or Somali, whatever way is easy for you. So far it looks like we don't have a lot of people, but it looks like the English has won or mixing. Okay, Mix it up. Okay, mix it up sounds good to me too. All right, looks good. Okay, so I guess we don't have a lot of people, so that's kind of like the voting. All right, so let's go to CodeBin. So uh, for the lecture today, let me share my screen. So for the lecture today, we're using CodeBen. There is an assignment in here that you could open if you want, but you could just watch if you want. Let me just close this. Sorry. You could just watch, and later on you could do your assignment. You could also use this. I'm gonna share this link. You could also play around with this. One thing you could do is you could fork. Forking means you could copy. So I shared the code bin link for this assignment. Forking means you could copy. So fork, you could go at the bottom right here, way at the bottom, the lowest. And let me know, guys, if you can't see, if I'm talking about something. So yeah. So if you can't see something, just let me know. But you could click fork here. That means it becomes yours. So you just copy it to your own account. If you don't have CodeBin, uh, create one. It's very easy and it's free. And CodeBin is basically a playground. So if you have never used CodeBin, it's a playground. It's a place you could like write code and it shows, and you don't have to have an editor in your computer. So it's just basically a browser based, and it's very easy, it's very nice. I actually like it. So definitely I recommend you sign up. We will not use CodeBin for everything. We will use for just like the HTML and maybe CSS, and then we'll move on to another software, and eventually we'll move on to editor. So we'll graduate from CodeBen to another software to eventually actual editor in our computer, especially when we go to the back end. So the back end and the node that we'll get to, it's going to be difficult to do in a playground here because there's a lot of database communication, things like that related. So we actually have to do it in our computer. But when it comes to just HTML front end, we could still do it in CodeBen and another software called a sandbox. What is it called? Code Sandbox. Code Sandbox. That's the one we will use for like the React and things like that. All right. So today the main lesson for today is that we learn how to set up a web page, how to set up a website, especially using semantics, semantic HTML. So semantic, that's the main thing that we need to understand today. Semantic markup. Semantic markup we talked about. It means things that make a meaning for the HTML, the tags. So nav is semantic, section is semantic, but H1 is not semantic. The reason why H1 is not semantic is because it doesn't, for the normal person who doesn't know how to code, H1 doesn't make any sense for them. But if you say, okay, we have a section and the section tag, this makes sense to a person who doesn't even know how to code. So that's what semantic basically means. It means you understand what the thing is about. So that's what we will go over today. So a couple of things that semantic helps you is accessibility for screen readers. So we talked about if someone is blind and you're using a screen reader, they definitely will help them to understand what the website is about and the different sections of the website. It also helps the developer. So if you take in this website and giving it to someone else, it helps them understand, okay, this is a header section, this is a footer section, this is a navigation section. So it helps them. Another thing is Google and SEO. So Google understands what your website is about. And also it helps with presentational layout. So just for developers, it looks nicer to have semantic UI. All right. So that is generally what it helps with. Um, so yeah, so those are the kind of things we went over. So today we'll just mark up this website. Um, this website. So this website is international airport. It's a website for an airport, and we have the text here. We have all the text here, and the one you have the assignment. It kind of looks like this one, but it's different. So we'll go over this. Just drink some water. Hopefully everything is going good. All right. So so the first thing is the title of the website. The title is usually the title when you have a title, and this is the usually the main logo. So if you have a logo, usually it goes there. But now we just have a text, so we'll put H1 there. But before that, let's just explain a couple of things. So now in CodeBin, we don't have the full HTML experience. So already CodeBin designed the HTML for us, so we don't have to worry about it. But in reality, usually you just put the HTML tag here, and then you put the closing HTML tag here. So HTML. That's what you will do usually when you do an editor. And then here you will do the header, or you just say head, and then the closing tag for the head. CodeBin is freaking out. Close the tag for the head. You usually put here a title, and you put something like international airport, and the title. You close it. And then the main text goes to the body. So we say body, and then right here, right before the closing HTML tag, we say body. That should be your setup in other forms, not in CodePen. But if you want to edit in, like, let's say a normal editor, this is how you will set up your HTML. You need to have like the HTML tag. Sometimes you'll have a doc type here, but the doc type is not 100% required, but it's important. You'll have a header here. In the header, you could have things like meta tag, something called the meta tag that we will learn in the future. So meta tags here, meta, and then you will add something here. So if you have, let's say, JavaScript or CSS, you put it in here. The link you put it here, and we'll explain that another time. So the body is the main place where you put everything that you want people to see. So right now we're not using this, so we'll delete it because CodeBin already did that for us in the background. So the first thing I usually like doing is I like putting everything in a div, in a divider. So this div, we'll just call it div. So everything is in one tag instead of having everything in different tags. It's good to have everything in one tag. We'll call this H1. H1, and that will have us. Also, my code bin is not set up for like everything, so I have to write both tags each time, which is annoying. But usually, you could install something in CodeBin, and when you write a tag, it automatically creates the other tag for you. So that is that's really good. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna pull up my reference, so I know we covered everything. Okay, so let's see. So before we even go to the header, the logo, so we'll just start with our first semantic, which is header. So the logo comes under the header, and also the navigation also comes under header. So let's just put header here, closing tag header. So we put everything here, and the best thing to do is usually indent everything, meaning put whatever goes under something, you indent it, you make it less, you indent it here. So so we have the header here. We also have navigation here, so we'll call it nav, and we'll close it with nav. And we will indent these. So we'll talk about these, and this is the navigation. So now the header, we have the header, and everything comes under the header is the title of the website and the navigation. So that's totally this section is the header. All right. So the next thing we will do is we will create we'll create links for the navigation. So let's create links for the navigation. So to create a link, you will use the a tag, and then you will use href. Href is a attribute. It's called attribute, and href helps you create a hyperlink. It's called a hyperlink. Um, so the a tag makes something a link, but then if you want a person to click that link, so if we just leave it like this, if we just leave it with no href, it will still be a link, but it will not take the person anywhere. So it's good. It becomes a anchor tag. So href helps you target somewhere. So you could just put a hash, and that means don't take the person anywhere. And then you close it, the a tag. So that means our home here is actually better in an aniga update today because it's keep jumping. So let me update it myself. Let's go to behavior, save automatically now. So let's just do that. So I have to say no, actually an auto updating preview. Okay. So saving is good. You can save by itself. But every time I change it, I can say run, and it makes the change. So instead of it keep jumping up and down, that's easier for me. So now let's add other hrefs. Href is just a link, as I said. So when you want to add, this is how you add it. Let me just copy this, paste it here, and let's just create another one. Href. So when you're using a hash, the hash bound or the pound sign, that means keep it empty. So that's how you keep a link empty. If you put something else, it's not gonna work. It's gonna go there. Whatever you put there, that's where it's gonna go. But if you put the hash bound, it means don't go anywhere. Just make it a link, but don't send someone, don't send the person anywhere. So now if we run, or maybe save, now you can see they became a link here. They're all linked. All right. So that's that. Another thing we could do is, so we created a navigation. So this is the navigation, and this is the logo. Okay. The next thing would be we create a section. So let's just go to here, and we will leave this as it is, the image, because it's not part of this the section. So we'll leave the image as it is. So let's just leave it as it is. We'll go to this section, and the first thing we'll do is we'll create a section, and we'll go to, I think we'll go to the bottom one, and we'll close it as a section. Sorry, my internet is kind of slow. So this is a section. So this whole area, this whole text is a section. Now the section is divided into different things. So you could divide it into different articles. Each section, let me see. Yeah, you could divide each one into article if you like, but you don't have to. And also another thing is you could create this part as a section. So let's actually do that. Let's create this part as a section because it is its own section. And as you can see here, a way to know is this is a title. This is a section title, and this is section title, and we'll give those their own tag. So I think we'll give them h2 those. So let me give this one h2. So we gave the logo h1. We're giving this one h2. It means it's less important. So let's save and run. Okay, so as you can see, it made that change. I think we'll just turn back on that thing. Okay. Let's just turn it back on. All right. So as you can see right now, it gave this whole section a title. Now we have two articles here, or parts of the section. The two parts we usually say paragraph. So we just say P here, and we'll add here P, and that will be paragraph. So this is one paragraph, just like when you're doing a normal paper in university or in school. That's how you tag it. And also this one we will say P, and here's another P. So one thing about paragraph and also all these H1 is that they are called a block section. So they're called block. Um, what is it called? They have a block attribute. That means if you create something like a paragraph, it takes the whole page. It doesn't allow you to like. So if you do something like if you put something here, so let's say something like test, it goes to the next line. So now, as you can see, test goes into the next line. Although there was still a space here. There's still a space here, as you can see. It goes to the next line. That means paragraph. It's called block. Block. It has a block attribute. It means automatically it doesn't allow you to add something else if you put paragraph. But also if you use span here, if you use something like, if you make this one a span instead of paragraph, and let's just wait. Okay, give me a second. Let me drink some water. hargab yar igu dhacay maalmihi soo dhaafnay. Uh, corona loo maleynaya, laakiin waa hargab caade. Testa iska qaada, so it's good. So so if you use span, that means it is. Give me a second. Let me see. Everything looks good. So if we use span and we put something here, test, is not going to go to the next line. It goes to the same line, as you can see here. That means span has an inline property, So, and that we'll learn that in the CSS a lot more. But that means span can allow you to add something to it, and it's not going to cover the whole thing. All right, let's go back to the paragraph. Lower B. Sorry. All right, so that's the paragraph. So we divided this into two, and let's give this a section by itself. Book a flight is a call to action, so it's a button, and we'll get to it. Section here, and this section is already closed for us. We'll give this H2, and H2 here. We'll give this a paragraph, P, and a paragraph here. Sometimes it slows down, P. Okay, and I'll just copy this, paste it at the bottom, the next one. I'll copy the first tag and paste it here at the front. So that creates two sections for us. It creates fly with us and plan your flight. So two sections. So that's how you create the sections and paragraphs. Now let me just put the button there. So the button, we just put the button tag. So button tag. Button. So HTML has the button property or button tag. The button tag helps you create a button, basically a generic button. You can't click, you can't do anything with it, but it creates. You could customize and make it better with the CSS. All right. So that is the section. Let me know if you guys have any question. Send it to Slido if you want to make it anonymous and you don't want people to know, or you could just put it on Slack and feel free. Okay. If you don't understand some parts or I didn't explain something, just feel free to let me know. Okay. So that is that is the sections. Now we'll just go to the footer section, and we'll add the footer. Let me see. So let's add footer. So we're talking about semantic UI. So um, semantic UI. So we'll add footer here, and we'll just add footer here. So footer is also part of HTML, and it does make it so that this section is the footer. So I mean, the browser understands this section is footer. We already did navigation, so we could just actually copy from above right here, so we don't have to redo it. We just copy, and make sure usually when you copying something, you copy it correctly, because a lot of times copying can mess up your code. And make sure you copy it correctly. So now if we go at the bottom, you see we have the navigation. So far it's coming together. It looks nice. It doesn't look nice, but it looks better than before. Things are kind of like aligned in different ways, so it's better. It looks better now. Let's see. So now what we need to do is we need to maybe put a little bit of CSS in it, and make sure like it looks nicer, but not much. But not much. So let me see. So what kind of CSS we can put? Um, so the first thing we could do is we could add something called box sizing. It helps with the. I mean, we'll explain later, but there's something called a there's a star. This is in CSS. This is called a it is a wild card. Basically, it affects everything in your HTML. So now we're doing the CSS. We're not doing the HTML anymore. So we finished with the HTML. Now I'm just showing you a little bit of CSS, not a lot today, a little bit of CSS. So now what we could do is we could, like, if we say something like color equal to red, everything becomes red. So that's how crazy this thing is. Everything becomes red, even the button, everything. So make sure when you're using this, it means affect everything basically. You never want to use it. So the only time we use it is when we add in something called box sizing. Box sizing. So box sizing is usually used when you wanna make sure like you don't want to have spaces everywhere. You want to make sure everything is same width and height. So you say border box. So border box. Usually you don't. I mean, you don't have to have it, but it's better to have it when you start it. So we'll explain that when we get to CSS. But now let's actually make it so it looks nicer. So what we could do is we could make it so that um, all the H1s, I mean the H1 is a different size. So if we want to make it different size, we say H1, and then we say something like font size, and we say something like 20 pixels. So now it looks smaller. It's not gigantic. Let's maybe say 25. Okay. Another thing we could do is we could make it so that we could create we could center it. So now it's not centered. So as you can see, when we make the screen bigger and we zoom out, it looks really weird. It doesn't look good because it's on the left side. Everything's on the left side, so it looks really ugly. So let's make it so that everything is centered. To center everything, we need to have a something that covers everything. And remember, I created a div at the beginning, so that div covers everything. So we'll give that something called class. Class is a property that you could use in HTML that that is a target basically. So if you wanna create a CSS, but you want to create something custom for yourself instead of like targeting H1, targeting A or paragraph, and you want to create something custom for yourself, you have two properties that you could use. You have class and you have ID. So those two things you have. Usually you want to use class, and we'll explain the reason for why we want to use class in the CSS. but the reason mainly is you could use multiple classes here. So now we're using container. So this container basically covers everything. But if you want to use something else, something like maybe like background, so you could, this is one CSS. This is this is one class. This is another class. You could create another class here. You could say something like image. This is another class. But when you use ID, you can't use that. So when you use ID, you have to just use one. So when you say container, you can't add anything here. That's it. So ID is only one, and also you could only have uh, one ID name per page. So you can't have container somewhere else. So class is much more flexible than ID. So if you want to mostly use class, there's very few places that you will use ID. So when you're using class in CSS, uh, first you define here in your HTML, and then in the CSS file you say dot and then container. That's how CSS knows this is a class. So it's gonna look for a class here in the HTML. If you use an ID, you'll use a hash bound here or hashtag. You'll use that, and it will go and look for ID here. So we don't have ID, so we'll just say that. Now we'll just add a few things here. We'll add the width. Let's make the width like something like 500 pixels. And also let's put the margin. So this is how you center it. You say margin 0, and then you'll put auto. So um, the margin is basically the outside space of this content. So now if you go something like this, it's still centered. So margin is outside. So you say, okay, I want automatically the so the margin has 4 properties, but you can use 2. So something like right, left, top, and bottom. It has all those properties. But now we're using 2 properties. We're saying make the sides auto, and we're saying the top and the bottom make them 0. So that means it's not gonna have a space at the bottom or the top. All right. So that's how we centered it. Now another thing we could do is let me see. Um, Another thing we could do is we could just make it look nicer. The navigation. So navigation, as you can see here, the navigation is squished. So the links are kind of like very close to each other. It looks kind of ugly. So what we could do is we could target that. So how do you target that? So you could target it by targeting header one, nav. I mean, not header one, just header, nav, and then a tag. The a tag targets each one of them, and we'll learn that in CSS how to target things. But so we could say something like header, nav, and then a. So that targets basically those links. And if let's say example, I want to show you like we can change the color. We could say something like red, and it changes the links. But we're not changing the color. We're just making it so that it looks nicer. One thing we could do is we could basically let's see some of the things we could do. I wrote down a few things. So we could margin. We could give it space between. We could say margin left. Let's say something like 20 pixels. So we give it space to each one of them, um, and then we could also add. If we could make it a little bit better when it comes to font size. We could say like 18 pixels, a little bit bigger. But also, as you can see, the first one is also kind of it has a space, so that looks kind of ugly. So one thing we could do is we could target again. We could say nav, header nav, and then a, and we could say we could actually just say here first child. So Farchild is something a little bit more advanced in CSS that we'll use in the future, but it targets basically the first one, and we could say here margin left 0. and that hopefully, let's see. Uh, oh, we have to target the A tag and nav. Okay, so that helps us so that it targets only the first one. So the first child means it targets the first element of A tags. So the first one. So now, as you can see, it doesn't have the space. It looks nicer. All right. So another thing we could do is we could add so many CSS, different type of CSS, but we're gonna keep it very very simple. Um, we could add some, we could change some of the text here and make it better. We could add something to the button and make it better. Let's see, and also let's add something in the footer. Let's add uh, the same thing here. Um, so what we could do is we could say footer nav a, and then just copy the same thing here and put it here. As you can see, it changes that. And also do the same thing for the first one. And but this one is a footer. So now it just goes back. So it looks nicer now. Another thing we could do is you could also like remove the line underneath. You could say something like it's called text decoration. You can move the underline, but we'll just keep it for now. Let's maybe change the color to for the paragraphs maybe, or maybe just keep it like that. Let's change maybe the line between the two texts. Maybe it's too close. So what we could do is we could say something like p, and then we could say line height. We could say something like 2 pixels or something like that. Oh, it's two, maybe 10 pixels. It's way too squished now still. 20. It's a lot of space now. So the line between, if you want to change that, it's called line height. You could still make it bigger. So if you want to make it like that, you could do that. It looks weird now. So let's keep it 20. The button, we could target the button. We could just say button here, since it's a semantic itself. Anything that's semantic, you could just target it without the dot. So paragraph or other things, header, things like that, you could target them normally. So the button, what we could do the button is we could change the color, background color. Let's make it something like green. Looks ugly. Okay, light blue is better. We could give it a we could give it a pattern, 20 pixels. Doesn't affect. I think we have to make it so that it has. Okay, let's make it so that the border it doesn't have a border. It's not affecting. I don't know what's wrong with it, but the main thing is you could target the button here. You could do a lot of things with it. It's usually you put like a class here, so you could target it better. So you could say something like class and say btn here, button, and target it that way. So that's mainly it. That's mainly it for today. You could like customize. You can make it better, make it look nicer. You could go above and beyond and like build a website that way. Our assignment for today is you go here. We're building Fatima restaurant. Fatima restaurant. I think Abdishid is here. Abdishid, he's a friend from San Diego. He knows Fatima restaurant. It's a restaurant, Kutala, San Diego. I used to live in San Diego myself, so restaurant San Diego Kutala. So we're building a website for it. When I was making this assignment, I didn't have any ideas, so I just went with the first thing I thought about. So you're doing the same thing I did, but you just have a different website. Uh, go above and beyond. Make sure that you fork it. So make sure you fork. So go here and go to this assignment. Before you do anything, go to here fork. That means it becomes yours, and you could just make the changes and save it. And then after that, when you're filling out the Airtable form here, When you're filling out the Airtable form here, you can put the link right here, the project link. Put the Airtable link, the code bin link that you when you finish the assignment, put it there. So make sure you fork it. Make sure you use semantic HTML. That's one of the requirements to use semantic HTML, and then you can make it better looking, or you could just keep it basic. But it's better to keep it better, to make it better. So yeah, so that's assignment for today. Try your best. If you finish it quick, that means you have the whole day to yourself. Come back around 4:30, or 4. Come back around 4, and inshallah we could do like a quick stand up like on Zoom. You could tell me how's it going, how you feel, things like that. So Abdeshid asked me a question: how do you keep list elements straight in HTML file? That's a good question. Abdeshid igu weydiiyey meeshaan Slack. So how do you keep list elements straight in HTML? I don't know what do you mean by straight. Uh, let's actually create a list element here. It's not part of my lesson, so I'm just gonna wing it. So let's create a section here. Actually, let's keep going how we were doing it. So let's just. So this is not part of my lesson. So if I forget something, I'm gonna Google it. So just keep that in mind. So we're gonna create a list. Let's create an ordered list. An ordered list. Let us So when you create an order list, you use li, a list item. You close that. You say um, first item, and then you could just copy this instead of like rewrite it again. First item, first item, first item, first item. All right. So now we have a list. So if you go at the bottom, you can see there's a list there. So this list, maybe let's move it at the top so that we can see it every time it refreshes. Let's move it to right underneath the image. All right. So we have this list. So what do you mean by keeping it straight? Um, so now if you use the UL and LI together and you kind of like nested it that way, it will automatically keep it straight. If you change it to OL here and here, change it to OL at the bottom. Sorry. Keep it OL. What am I doing? OL. That means ordered list. So it'll give you the number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you just keep adding another one, it will just automatically add the number for you without you adding the number. So another one 6. So is that what you mean, Abdulshid? Um, you could also take the mic if you want and talk. No problem.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, if you use OL and UL, it will always keep it straight automatically. Another person asking me, Suhaib, how do you make the paragraph arrange without break? Means on the side every side same margin. Okay, so if you want to keep the okay, so you guys check Slack. Suhaib asked me the question: how do you keep the paragraph on without breaking here? So for example, as you can see here, it breaks. So it goes all the way to here, and it's like okay, especially the second line, as you can see, Komodo is cannot fit here, Komodo, so it just moves to the next line. The way to make it so that it fits everywhere, it's called justify. So if you have used Microsoft Word, you could use that. It's called justify. So let's say the first one. What we're going to do is we could give it a class, call it something like actually, let me show you something new because we already learned class. I'll show you inline CSS. So this is called inline. So if you want to create inline, it means a CSS that you could create within the HTML. So you use style and you say, okay, equal to. Now what we're going to do is we say text align, and then we use justify here. Text align justify. And you could always find this information from you could find it from the internet. So you could just say how to align text and it will show you. But as you can see now, it aligned this line. So let's actually add together two texts so it kind of looks nicer. So as you can see here, so it fits the whole line. Instead of breaking it, it's not breaking on the right side. So justify helps you make it so that it fits. Another thing, some people justify is actually the best way to do it. If you go to news websites and stuff like that, they always use justify. And if you find a magazine, they use justify. It's on like Photoshop, it's on Microsoft Word, everywhere. Sometimes you'll have a space here, like kind of like a bigger space sometimes. That's fine, that's a normal, especially if you're creating an article, if you're creating a news website. It's totally fine to have like a little more space here, bigger space, because you're using justify, and it's trying to figure out how to like fit everything in a box. So that's kind of like how you align to the right. Okay, I hope so. That answers your question. Sasma code. Okay, with Dinis.
Yes, how start saasan ka waday.
Okay, خير marka. So justify, and we will learn CSS inshallah. Si fiican aan u baranaa CSS-ka. We'll go through all the different sections, all the different parts of CSS, how to align, how to make text bigger, how to change the colors, how, all the properties of how to change something. But the main thing today is understanding semantic HTML and creating a semantic HTML web page that has a semantic HTML, and kind of like styling it a little bit, making it look nicer. And that's the main thing, inshallah, today. Um, I'll try, inshallah, to help you. If you have any question, we can, we can go over it on the stand up. So the stand up is 30 minutes before the whole thing ends, so around like 4:30. So just keep doing your best, try your best, and I'm sure you could finish it today assignment. It's you just, same thing we did. You just make sure like it looks nicer. So and it's small, so I would say go above and beyond, make it look nicer. Share with people that your friends on Facebook, whatever. Share with them if you want. Make it look better. So yeah, just do that and fill out the form before after you finish it, and we can get back on. We can come together on like the stand up, inshallah, 30 minutes before. So any other questions you guys have, let me know. um we can answer it, inshallah. If you're confused about like the training material, what to do, things like that, let me know. The schedule, things like that. It could be overwhelming the first day, a lot of things to understand, but it's a normal. Over time this becomes like bb amal, and you will learn much more. uh in a couple of weeks, you'll be amazed how much you learned. Yes. So right now I'm recording the Zoom. So when I'm finished, it's gonna render and all that. I'm gonna put it on the Gabi School YouTube. It's not gonna be public. It's gonna be unlisted, and then I'm gonna share it on Slack, inshallah, with you guys. And eventually, it's gonna be posted on the training material. So you'll have it forever. Don't worry about it. Definitely. So yeah, so that this is what we do every day. So I come here, I give you a lecture, guys. We go in depth, and this today is like HTML, so it might be really easy for you. You're just sitting here like, okay, this I know this stuff, but it gets harder and harder. If you look at the training material, it gets to like very difficult parts. But don't give up. Make sure that you are ready. Make sure that you get your coffee and all that. Suhaib Somali joogaa. MashaAllah, I appreciate Somalia kasoo gashay iyo Abdulqadir. Abdulqadir is my friend, and MashaAllah, Abdurshid, you guys all my friends. So MashaAllah, ragga Somalia kasoo gala aad umahadsan tihiin. I know it becomes late for you later on. Haddii aad Soomaaliya joogtid and kugu adagta inaad imaado stand upka, assignmentiga soo dir, and then just isoo dir message on like Slack camal waxaa dhahdaa waan seexanayaa, and assignment goes out today. So you don't have to stay up in like 3 or 4 amal or something like that, or 2. So just assignment let's finish kara, and just you could sleep. But ragga Maraykanka joogo, make sure inshallah in inaan stand up ka sameyno. And the reason I stand up ku sameynayna is because waxaan idii diyaarinayaa like the normal job maxaa lihi jiray world. We're using some waxa la dhaho agile methodology aan isticmaalaynaa. Agile methodology waxa weeye if you read about it, agile methodology waxa weeye waxay leeyihin wax la dhaho sprints waxa waaye waa weekly waaye. So what do you do is every day waxaa sameynaysaa projectaa sameynaysaa. Let's say company aa u shaqeynaysaa, projectaa sameynaysaa maalinkaas. At the end of the day, you do stand up. Stand up how you just talk about, okay, I did this, I did that, this is what worked for me, this is what didn't work for me, all that stuff. And then you keep doing that every day. And then at the end of the week, you do a bigger one, a bigger stand-up kind of thing. So it's like you conclude that week, basically. So we use an agile methodology. And I'm getting you ready, guys, for like big companies that like Facebook, Google, and all that. So keep that in mind. So it's important to come to the stand-up. It's important to communicate. It's important to ask questions. And don't let something slip by without you asking me questions, without you clarifying. So make sure everything, you understand everything, inshallah. So when you want to submit the assignment, so let me actually just go over in a second. We'll kind of go over the time cut. Let me just quickly share. So if you go to the website, the training material, and we're gonna call it TM from now on. So if I say TM, that means it's training material. It is you when you understand everything, you go to here, go to this link, Fatima Restaurant, and then did the same thing I did. So we had a seminar. So you basically go over this and make it look nicer, center it, give it a little bit of CSS, go over it. And then when you're done with it, but before you do all that, make sure you fork it. So go here, fork, and then save it, create your own code bin, and then save everything. And then take the link when you're done with it, go back here and go to the daily reflection. Daily reflection, you just choose your name here. Hopefully your name is in here. If it's not, let me know. And then you choose the assignment. So the assignment is the first one today. And today is easy to understand because it's the first one. Like eventually, inshallah, I will put it here on I'll put it on Slack. So actually, let me just actually put it quickly. So today, the topic, I'm gonna change the topic in Slack. It's gonna give you a notification, guys. So today the topic is that. So from now on, that's where you see, okay, if you go to here and you say, okay, what do I choose from here? You just go to here and check out on Slack. And then you put the code bin link here. No, that's not code bin link. Get the code bin link, put it here. And then cohort, so full-time. So your full-time, FT stands for full-time. And then you grade yourself. So usually you give yourself either 1 or 2. I mean 2 or 3. 2 or 3. 1 means you didn't do the work, you didn't do anything, or you just did like one thing and then you didn't do much. But 2 or 3, 2 means you did what I did. So everything I did on the assignment right here, you basically did this. This is 2 basically. It means like you did the minimum of viable product basically. 3 means you made it really nice. You added pictures and stuff and all that. So 3, that's what it means. And then here you could explain whatever, you can leave it empty if you want, but you could explain if something didn't work out for you, if you tried something else, all that stuff. Just whatever you want, you could explain here and then submit. So when you submit, you're done. So you're done. And then we'll have the stand up on later on today. If you're Somali haddaad joogtid, I would say, and it's too hard for you to stay up, then you could just submit the assignment and you could go to sleep. But if you can stay up, and we can, inshallah, go over it. And also, galabta maaha, it's not like imtihan amal. I'm not going to look at what you did, guys, and like be like, okay, you did that wrong. I'm not going to do that. That's not today. Stand up, stand up, okay, tell me waxa ku dhibay. Share with me how you feeling today, things like that. So it's not like imtihan ma. It's like very chill. It's like what's la share and you're just talking to me. But later on, markii la gaaro Friday, that's when I'm kind of like xogaha it is a little bit hard on you guys on Friday because I want to make sure in a fantain weekend so dhaafno dhan wixii la bartay. A little bit harder, but like it's not too much. Waa isla shaqeynayna inshallah, no problem. So that's today inshallah. Let me know if you have any other question. Suhaib, I think su-aashan makaaga jawaab ma fahante?
Si fiican baan ustaad u fahmay.
Okay, inshallah. So just do that, and then inshallah you're good to go today. You saw the message anytime, private or normal. You public you saw the mid time, inshallah. I can answer, and I'll be around, inshallah. Thank you guys. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, guys. I'll see you soon, inshallah. Galapta,
Thank
maybe.
you.
Inshallah.
Hey, take care, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum salaam.